Junzu, hi, thank you for joining me. I'm so excited to have you.
Hi, Paula. How are you? Great. This is exciting.
Who you are and what do you do?
Sure. So I'm a technology leader, focusing on utilizing technology to transform an organization. Whether this is technology platform side or people side, organization-wise as well. So I'm very passionate about how to apply technology to enable business, not just about technology, it's more about the business outcome. So that's who am I. I started my journey as an engineer. So I was a very much technical, hands-on, and that was the only thing I wanted to do. But of course, life changed, and I was fortunate enough, right, moving into a leadership capacity and met a lot of exciting leaders who coached me, mentoring me, and today I'm trying to give it back as well.
What do you like to do?
What I like to do, I always like to have some impact. Whether this is in an organization, in my personal life, right? I have two boys. How can I impact them when they start their life journey?
Yeah.
And also when I'm leading team, transforming team, how can I support, enable, in some cases, mentoring, coaching my teammates so that they could reach a better version of themselves. For me, it's same thing. All these activities enable me to be a better version of myself every day, hopefully.
So in marketing, you have done a lot of marketing automation. Like we mentioned, you are a busy executive, you have your own consultancy, your own company called Idea Tree. You've also worked in large enterprises, from multi-billion-dollar enterprises. So you've got this great scope. Do you have a preferential tool or a system that you use?
To me, the tooling, the system is second place. The most important is what's the business, right? Well, what's the business requirement? To me, the technology is to enable the business outcome. So whether this is a traditional TV industry, for example, I came from, a broadcasting TV, or maybe digital media, it could be different, right? Utilizing different tools. But there's one requirement I think is almost always true, whether this is a legacy environment, whether this is a cloud digital platform, it is this end-to-end from data collection to the transformation of data, to analyze the data, then it's a loop back, right? It's a circle to feedback to our marketing automation, marketing campaign. So again, it's end-to-end process.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of collaboration and what you spoke to earlier, right? You like to make an impact, like to see value, a lot of coaching goes into that.
Yeah, and I remember when I joined Tribune Media, that's the company I worked for previously. My number one goal was to talk to our chief marketing officer, chief revenue officer. Because historically, technologists, IT, prefer whatever tool they, right? It's a shining object tools. Like we want to buy the most expensive, the latest tool versus we're actually addressing the pain points from the business. So day one, I reach out to chief marketing officer, chief revenue officer, try to understand the pain points, try to understand the gap between what they want to achieve, the business results, versus what IT can provide in terms of technology. And that's super critical because without that business outcome in mind, as technologists, we may very well lose the full picture, right? We think about hey, this technology gonna do this, do that. It is not what the business outcome needed, that is probably not effective. So again, it is bridging the gap between technology and business, and it should be business outcome driven.
Leadership. So you have a lot to say about this. I mean, you were VP of IT at Nexstar, which is multi-billion dollars. Also, you were leading teams at the Tribune Media. You have, like, again, you have your own organization, Idea Tree. So what are your best practices for leadership?
To me, right, so there's this Gartner Magic Quadrant. To me, there's also a leadership quadrant. First one is a leader as a strategist, providing the vision, writing the roadmap, and also building the team, right? So it's a vision, create that vision as a strategist. Second quadrant is leader as execution, right? So you have to execute the roadmap. You have to really focus. What is your goal? What thing you need to do? What thing you shouldn't do? That should be very clear. So execution. The third quadrant is leader as a relationship builder. And this is very much true, especially important for IT technologist leader, because for so many years, for so long, we are kind of isolated, right? We are at the corner building infrastructure, building application without too much input from the business. But today, in order to be effective, you have to build that relationship, whether it's cross-functional with your HR, your finance, your accounting, your marketing, sales, whatever part of business units, with your strategic partners, with your vendors included, also within your organization, with your peers. So a relationship builder will determine whether you're going to be effective in a large organization. The last quadrant is leader as a mentor or a coach. And that's super important, because ultimately a leader is managing people, is leading people, is to transform a team. And that is so critical on a personal level, how to be authentic, how to be decisive, not afraid of making difficult decisions, right? So that is, to me, the four quadrant of being an effective leader.
What do you think about technology? I would love to hear your thoughts as, day in, day out technology aficionado, but also if you can talk to us a little bit about cloud strategy.
To be effective, to be successful in a cloud world, in a digital first world, when we selecting technology, when we implement technology, when we support technology, it has to be, again, this end-to-end mindset.
What advice do you have for anyone that's going through that challenge of having seamless integration between all those different dynamics?
Yeah. So there's a multiple approach. So ideally, you move to one platform, right? So you enjoy this system record platform. Everything is natively integrated. But in reality, that's most likely not the case, right? Especially for large enterprise company, we have legacy workloads on premise, we have in the private cloud, we have colo, we have multi-clouds. So it's everywhere. And it's also very difficult to just say, okay, I can move to one platform at first. It's very highly unlikely. It's expensive and also going to be relatively disruptive to your business. So to me, you have to look at, again, who you are, right, as an organization, and where you want to be and how to get there. It may take years. It may take multiple phases of projects, programs, but the goal should be very clear. Like, for example, for new workloads, if we decided we want to be cloud native, we want to be digital, new workloads, we're going to develop in the cloud. Right? So, and you may choose one or two cloud based on your technology stack.
Yeah.
For the legacy workloads, many companies have lots of technology debt. So we need to have a plan. How are we gonna, whether sunsetting certain legacy application, if possible, whether we're gonna re-platform, re-architect, redesign to be cloud native. So it's gonna be based on different workloads, whether this is your ERP system, probably relatively easier, still time consuming to move to a SaaS-based cloud. But what about your line of business, right? Your point of sale, your order management type of application? Those are truly revenue impacting and business impacting application, right? Tend to be legacy, tend to on-prem. What is the plan for that type of application? Maybe it's gonna take a few years to get to the cloud native. So again, it has to be based on different workloads and also having this end-to-end in mind. It's not just moving one application to the cloud, it is the entire ecosystem. You have to think about infrastructure, your application development, your DevOps, right? And also your security, your compliance. It's not just moving one piece of workloads. It is to design this, again, from infrastructure, application, data management, all the way to security. You have to think through before you make a decision. Certainly, there are workloads you could try out. Like again, agile development is about make quick move, even if fail. We could redo it. So focusing on start with a few maybe internal application. Even if fail, it probably is okay. Then we go to the tackle the big ones.
I can see why you're the technology strategy guru. I mean, you had me. So if any organization needs some technology strategy, definitely come to you and IdeaTree, because you painted such a beautiful picture. All right, first question. So if you had the choice between a tropical island or space, and it was just you, which one would you choose and why?
Oh, space. I always loved space travel. Going to the far, far away unknown. Actually, when my younger boy, when he was little, every night, right, storytelling. And we have this never-ending story about this journey go to the outer space. And he was fascinated. I was fascinated because I was building that story. To me, it's all about space because there's so much unknown and there's so much possibility. You never know what's gonna happen.
Second question, your most iconic or favorite brand from your lifetime?
Coca-Cola, even though it's not a good drink. But I came from China when that's quite a few years ago now. When I was working at Motorola China, I traveled quite a bit. And back then, Coca-Cola was such a brand, such a great thing. Like we cannot have it unless you are in a restaurant or in a hotel, fancy hotel. It was so expensive, right? So one time, I took a bottle from this mini refrigerator in my hotel room. It was like so expensive, but again, it's a one of the brand that many parts of the world knows it. So that first came to my mind.
I love that story because I'm also an immigrant. I grew up really poor when we came to the US, and McDonald's was that brand for us. So I have fond memories of McDonald's. Even now, my husband thinks I'm crazy when I'll ask for McDonald's when we're trying to celebrate something, right? Because it just has that, it pulls that emotional trigger. Sounds like Coca-Cola is like that for you as well.
Absolutely.
If you could only have one app on your cell phone, what would it be and why?
FaceTime. My parents still live in China. My brother still live in China. This is the one app we use every week, Connect. So we just last couple of years, we went through COVID. And with any collaboration too, right? FaceTime is one of them. This keep us close. It's so difficult when you know your parents stuck in the house and no one, right? It's very difficult to help them. Having that application to collaborating, to communicating. And remember vividly, when we first time I talked to my mom through FaceTime, her entire face lighted up.
Really?
It was like, this is unbelievable. Because we always call on the phone. When I first came to this country in 1995, like a poor student, I only call maybe twice a month. It was so expensive. Like I remember it's $1 per minute.
Yeah.
Right? It's so expensive. Nowadays, it's very different. It's so convenient. So this is one example, a digital smartphone, a digital application to shorten the distance, to make the world flat, right? To communicate a lot more frequently. And it's important for me, for my family, to communicate, to keep in contact. It is so critical, and I that's one of the applications I can never live without.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Well, thank you for coming on and giving a little bit of your thought leadership and a little bit of yourself, Jun. Where can people find you if they want more information?
They could find me on LinkedIn, they go to the website, but also my email, jzou@ideatreecorp.com. So I love to connect people, I love to talk to people, and hopefully this be helpful as well.
Awesome. Yep, I'll be sure to add some notes with your contact information. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Paula. This is wonderful.